Princess of Wales.
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 Princess of Wales is made.
He chose St Andrews University, and so, by chance, did Kate Middleton. And that, of course, where they were both first-year students, freshers, that's where they met. And if there is one word which sums up their relationship, I think it's one of respect.
Behind the polished smiles and carefully staged public appearances, the Wales family home is governed by rules the world never sees. While Prince William and Kate project warmth and modernity, insiders whisper that strict traditions still dictate life behind closed doors. From how the children are disciplined to what emotions are allowed to show, nothing is as casual as it seems. These aren't fairy tale customs, they're binding expectations. So what secret rules quietly shape daily life inside their private sanctuary? Few dare question them at home.
I know she will bring to the demands of her new role the steadfast devotion to duty on which I have come to rely so much.
Real-life families and, actually what's going on in the community, and it must be really challenging for you.
Rules that apply to everyone, even royals. At Forest Lodge, freedom and rules coexist in a delicate balance. The vast rolling grounds of Windsor Great Park might look like a boundless playground at first glance, but beneath its natural beauty lies a strict system of protection. This isn't a place where anything goes. Motorized vehicles are tightly controlled, electric scooters are largely forbidden, and entire public areas are off-limits to personal transport. These rules are not arbitrary. They exist to safeguard the park's rich wildlife, preserve centuries of history, and keep everyone who enters safe. Importantly, they apply to everyone without exception, including the royal family itself. Even with privileges most people can barely imagine, Prince William adheres to these rules faithfully. He does not receive special exemptions, nor is he allowed to bend the regulations for convenience. At first glance, this might seem like a minor detail, almost trivial in the grand scope of royal life. But it is far from trivial. It offers a rare glimpse into how authority and responsibility function within this household. Here, leadership is shown not by bending rules or claiming exceptions, but by following them. Compliance, not exemption, is the true measure of respect and responsibility. This ethos shapes the next generation in subtle but profound ways. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis grow up observing that no amount of status can place someone above shared responsibility. Privilege exists, certainly, but it is tempered by restraint. Power is present, yes, but it is disciplined. In a world often fascinated with the extremes of wealth and influence, this is a quiet but powerful lesson. Children learn that rules are not punishment. They are the framework that allows freedom to flourish safely. They learn that authority earns respect not by indulgence, but by example. For Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, the environment at Forest Lodge resonates deeply with her approach to parenting. Those who know her well often speak of her belief in preparation, routine, and emotional stability. To her, structure is not about control for control's sake. It is about creating a sense of safety and predictability. Forest Lodge, with its mix of open spaces and boundaries, provides the ideal backdrop for this philosophy. It is a place where children can explore and play, yet within limits that prevent chaos. It is a place where freedom is real, but always accompanied by responsibility. The Duchess's approach emphasizes balance. Emotional well-being, she believes, is fostered through consistency and stability. Children thrive when they know what to expect, when rules are clear but reasonable, and when adults model the behavior they hope to see. At Forest Lodge, these principles are woven into everyday life. Even ordinary activities, walking through the woods, playing in the gardens, or enjoying the lakes, become lessons in observation, patience, and respect. The park itself, with its centuries-old trees and delicate wildlife, teaches a quiet reverence for the world beyond oneself. In this household, the intersection of privilege and discipline creates a unique kind of education. The Wales children are surrounded by opportunity, Yes, but that opportunity is framed by responsibility. They witness firsthand that privilege does not equate to exemption from rules, and that respect for boundaries is not a limitation but a pathway to freedom. Authority in this context is gentle yet firm, modeled through consistency rather than command. Forest Lodge, therefore, is more than a home. It is a carefully curated environment where lessons of life, responsibility, and emotional balance are learned naturally. Here, freedom is not chaotic, it is guided. Structure is not restrictive, it is supportive. And privilege, when accompanied by self-discipline, becomes a tool for growth rather than a shield from consequence. It is within this framework that the Wales family thrives, demonstrating that the truest measure of leadership and the deepest gift a parent can give is the ability to combine freedom with boundaries, power with restraint, and love with lessons that last a lifetime. Are there other rules that the royal couple must abide by? Are they existing rules or self-designed ones? Let's delve further into other rules that they jointly follow. Inside the United Parenting Code of Prince William and Kate Middleton. When it comes to raising their children, Prince William and Kate Middleton are not casual or accidental about their choices. Behind the calm smiles and polished public appearances is a very intentional parenting style, one built on unity, emotional awareness, and clear boundaries. According to a royal source who spoke to The Sun, the couple are completely aligned in how they run their household, and that shared approach shapes everything their children experience at home. One of the most striking rules in the Cambridge home is simple but powerful. Shouting is not allowed, not for the children and not for the adults either. Raised voices are considered off-limits, no matter the situation. Instead of yelling, the family is encouraged to pause, breathe, and talk things through. This rule sets the tone for a home where calm communication is the norm, not the exception. It also sends a clear message to the children that emotions are valid, but how you express them truly matters. Another deeply rooted family value is their commitment to never going to bed angry. Even after a difficult day or a tense moment, the goal is always reconciliation before sleep. Issues are addressed, feelings are acknowledged, and misunderstandings are cleared as much as possible. This habit teaches the children that conflict does not have to linger, and that relationships are worth repairing quickly and thoughtfully. At the heart of William and Kate's parenting style is emotional openness. Their children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, are actively encouraged to talk about how they feel. Nothing is considered too small or too trivial to discuss. Whether it's stress over schoolwork, nerves about a swimming lesson, frustration with a ballet move, disappointment from a missed tennis shot, or even sadness after seeing hungry children in a TV advertisement, every feeling is taken seriously. When these emotions come up, the family doesn't brush them aside. Instead, a conversation begins. The children are listened to, questions are asked, and together, they look for solutions or ways to understand what's happening. This process teaches problem-solving, empathy, and emotional intelligence, all in everyday moments that might otherwise be ignored in many households. What makes these rules even more effective is that William and Kate hold themselves to the same standards. They don't expect their children to behave one way while the adults act another. If shouting is not allowed, that rule applies to everyone. If open conversation is encouraged, the parents model it first. This consistency helps the children trust the rules and respect them, because they see fairness in action. Just as important is the couple's determination to present a united front. In the Cambridge household, mixed signals are a no-go. There is no scenario where one parent says no, only for the other to later say yes. Decisions are discussed privately and then communicated clearly and consistently to the children. This unity removes confusion and helps the children feel secure, knowing where boundaries stand. Screen time is another area where this clarity shows. Television is not left on all day in the background. Watching TV is intentional, limited, and carefully supervised. But at what point in time did the royal couple decide to move to the Forest Lodge that has lots of existing rules? Why was the decision made? Where was their initial residence? Let's find out. A move that spoke louder than any announcement. When Prince William and Catherine made the decision to move their family from the familiar confines of Adelaide Cottage to the more secluded Forest Lodge, they did so with remarkable quietness. There was no grand announcement, no carefully timed press release, no official note explaining why the change was necessary. The move wasn't accompanied by a single staged photo or a carefully worded statement meant to signal a new chapter in royal life. In the world of royalty, where every action is scrutinized, every gesture measured, this absence of spectacle was itself telling. Silence in this context was not empty. It spoke volumes. Within royal circles, people understood immediately that this was more than a temporary shift, more than a convenient stopgap between other public-facing residences. Forest Lodge was not chosen on a whim. It was selected with precision as a long-term sanctuary for the family, a place that would see them through years of growth, change, and the ever-intensifying gaze of the public. The quietness of the move carried a weight that no announcement could match. It was a subtle yet powerful statement. This was a home intended to nurture, to protect, and to endure. In the monarchy, where symbolism is usually loud, deliberate, and meticulously choreographed, the understated nature of this decision was striking. Here, a future king was making a choice not for show, not to impress the public or satisfy media curiosity, but to prioritize his family and the values he wanted to instill in his children. Every detail, every decision, reflected deeper principles rather than surface-level appearances. Where a royal chooses to raise their children is never incidental. It is a decision layered with meaning, revealing more about character and priorities than any public statement ever could. In this instance, William and Catherine signaled a shift in perspective. They moved away from the idea that every royal act must be framed as a public spectacle, away from the constant need to be seen, and toward a focus on stability, structure, and privacy. This choice was about creating an environment where their children could grow without distraction, where their formative years could unfold with the normal rhythms of family life. Albeit within the unique pressures of royal expectation, the significance of Forest Lodge extends beyond its walls. It represents a deliberate separation from the relentless visibility that accompanies life in the spotlight. For a monarchy steeped in tradition and ceremony, this quiet relocation was radical in its subtlety. It said, "Here is a home built not for optics, but for opportunity. The opportunity for children to develop resilience, to experience continuity, and to learn values without interference." It was a clear message that the family's welfare, emotional grounding, and long-term development were paramount. And yet, even as the move remained private, it carried implications that resonated through the palace. Decisions like these ripple outward, influencing how royal life is perceived and how future generations of the monarchy might approach the balance between duty and domesticity. William and Catherine were not simply picking a house. They were modeling an approach to parenthood and monarchy that emphasized substance over style, intention over impression. In the end, the story of Forest Lodge is about priorities, choices, and quiet courage. It is about a future king and his consort putting the needs of their children above public expectation, forging a path that values privacy and stability in a world defined by spectacle. In the hushed corridors of royal life, the silence surrounding the move was not absence. It was meaning itself. Where others might have shouted, they whispered. Where others staged, they planned. And in that whisper, in that careful decision, lay a profound statement. The future of this family, and perhaps of the monarchy itself, would be guided not by optics, but by values, intention, and care. Could their choice of the Forest Lodge be born out of mere aesthetics? Could it be deeper than that? Let's dive into the driving force behind the choice of the Forest Lodge. Privacy as strategy, not withdrawal. tucked quietly out of sight, feels like it was designed to exist just beyond the reach of everyday noise. It does not sit beside busy roads or crowded walkways. Tourists do not wander past its gates, and strangers do not drift by out of curiosity. You do not arrive there by chance. You go there on purpose. That sense of distance is not accidental. It is intentional. Still, this calm should never be confused with running away. Forest Lodge is not a retreat from life. It is a thoughtful attempt to live life well. Although the home feels peaceful and tucked away, it is not cut off from the heart of responsibility. It sits close enough to the center of royal work to keep daily duties firmly in view. Official meetings, ceremonies, and public engagements remain easy to reach. Nothing important is sacrificed. The move was never about disappearing from public service. It was about deciding where the public presence should end and where family life should begin. At its core, this choice shows a deeper meaning of distance. Distance here is not about separation. It is about control. It is about choosing when to be seen and when not to be watched. When first settled into their earlier home, the space felt warm and manageable. It suited a young couple starting out, raising small children, and finding their rhythm as a family. At that stage, the attention felt bearable, even expected. But time changes everything. Children grow. Curiosity grows with them. Public interest sharpens, and cameras wait longer. Simple moments, walking to school, playing outside, stepping out for fresh air, slowly become moments of scrutiny. What once felt ordinary began to feel exposed. Privacy, which many families take for granted, became something fragile. It had to be protected with effort. Forest Lodge shifted that experience completely. It brought space in the most meaningful sense. Not just wider land or bigger rooms, but room to breathe, room to think, room to simply be. Quiet mornings replaced the feeling of being watched. Open grounds replaced narrow paths where every step could be noticed. For the children, this change mattered more than anything else. Childhood needs freedom. It needs routine. It needs safety. When every move is observed, those needs are harder to meet. Here, privacy is not treated as a reward or a luxury. It is treated as a basic structure, like strong walls or a solid roof. It supports emotional health and family stability. Within this protected space, routines can form naturally, moods can settle, mistakes can be made and learned from without becoming public stories. Growth happens best when it is not rushed or judged. This sense of balance also strengthens their public work. When home life is calm, public responsibility becomes easier to carry. With a steady foundation, they can step into their roles with focus and clarity. They can give their best where it is required without feeling that every private moment is at risk. The public no longer controls the pace of their family life. Instead, public duty fits around it. What makes this decision even more powerful is how quietly it happened. There were no dramatic announcements or carefully worded speeches, no public explanation of boundaries, no grand statement meant to draw attention. The meaning was built into the choice itself. Sometimes the strongest messages are not spoken aloud. This approach reflects a quiet kind of leadership, one that does not chase praise or approval. It is guided by foresight rather than pressure. By choosing where and how to live, the family showed that it is possible to be visible without being vulnerable. Service does not require constant exposure. Commitment does not demand instability. Forest Lodge, then, is more than a home. It is a carefully chosen middle ground, a place where public responsibility and private well-being can exist side by side. The family remains present where it truly counts, through service, duty, and leadership. And they are protected where it matters most, in the quiet, unseen moments where family life grows. That balance is where its true strength lies, quiet, steady, and deeply intentional. Is there anything special about the makeup of the Forest Lodge? Was it intentionally designed to accommodate their interests? Let's dig into the details of how the Forest Lodge was designed. A home built for living, not performing. The moment you step inside, you don't need anyone to explain the house to you. You feel it. Quietly, clearly, without a single word being spoken, the space tells you what it is meant for. This is not a house designed to impress. It is not arranged to signal importance, power, or rank. There are no visual reminders of status, no dramatic flourishes demanding attention. Instead, the home makes a gentler statement. This is a place built for living, for ordinary days, for real people moving through life together. Nothing inside bows to ceremony. Nothing pauses for appearances. The rooms exist to be used, not admired from a distance. The walls don't whisper about prestige. They echo with routine, warmth, and familiarity. The house feels settled, like it knows exactly why it exists. The kitchen tells this story more clearly than anywhere else. It is not a perfect showroom kitchen, polished and untouched, waiting for guests or cameras. It is a working space. Meals are prepared here in real time, not styled in advance. Sleeves are rolled up. Counters are used. Plates are passed around, not carefully positioned. Spills happen and are wiped away without drama. Laughter rises and fades. Cleaning is part of the rhythm, not something hidden out of sight. This is where mornings begin in a rush, and evenings slow everything down. Conversations happen naturally, often without planning. It is where the family gathers not as roles or titles, but simply as people. The kitchen doesn't ask anyone to perform. It allows them to exist. The living spaces follow the same quiet logic. Nothing feels stiff or untouchable. The chairs are meant to be sat on, not admired. The rooms encourage people to come together, to talk, to argue, to rest, to play, to sit in comfortable silence. These are not rooms designed for display. They are designed for connection. Comfort matters more than perfection. Warmth matters more than grandeur. Life, in all its noise and disorder, is welcome here. Upstairs, the bedrooms reveal an even deeper intention. They are calm and steady spaces, free from constant change or excess decoration. In a world filled with attention, noise, and expectation, these rooms offer something rare: emotional safety. They are familiar and predictable. The same walls, the same layout, the same sense of peace. For children growing up under constant observation, this consistency is not a luxury, it is a necessity. These rooms become anchors, places where they don't have to explain themselves or meet expectations. Spaces that belong to them alone, where they can retreat, reset, and simply be. Throughout the house, one principle remains unshaken. Nothing exists to impress. Everything exists to serve a purpose. The choices are practical, thoughtful, and intentional. This is not a home built for admiration. It is built to support real life: meals, rest, disagreements, apologies, growth. It holds space for the full range of human experience. And the home does not stop at the back door. It opens directly into the surrounding park, where nature becomes a natural extension of daily life. Wide stretches of grass, winding paths, clusters of trees, and open clearings invite movement and exploration. Nature here is not decoration. It is a companion. There are no carefully designed playgrounds meant to look good in photographs. No bright structures placed for visual appeal. Instead, there is freedom. The children run, climb, wander, and create. Sticks become swords. Trees become castles. Open fields turn into entire worlds. Their play is unplanned, unstaged, and entirely their own. This is childhood without a script. No one is directing the moment. No one is arranging the scene for approval. The children learn by doing, by falling and getting back up, by testing boundaries, by negotiating rules among themselves. They build strength, confidence, balance, and imagination, not because it looks impressive, but because it is genuinely good for them. Growing up here is not treated as practice for public life. It is treated as life itself. The aim is not to prepare children to perform for the world, but to help them understand who they are within it. They are being shaped for resilience, not applause, for depth, not display. Stands as a quiet reminder that true stability is built in moments no one sees, in shared meals, in safe bedrooms, in muddy shoes by the door and tired laughter at the end of the day. This is not preparation for a role. It is preparation for being human. How does the private arrangement at the Forest Lodge translate into their public lives? Is it well blended or properly balanced? Let's take a look at the public life of the royal couple. The same quiet leadership in public life. There is a quiet balance at the heart of how we live our lives. It is a balance between clear structure and genuine warmth, between rules and tenderness. What is striking is that this balance does not stop at the door of their home. It travels with them wherever they go. Whether they are alone as a family or standing before the public eye, the tone remains the same: steady, calm, and quietly intentional. This became clear during a visit to Radical Weavers in Stirling. It was not a major speech or a carefully staged photograph that drew attention, but a simple, almost invisible moment. As Catherine prepared to sit at a traditional loom, William gently folded her tartan coat and placed it aside. There was no hesitation, no glance toward the cameras, no sign that he knew this small action would be noticed. It happened naturally, the way such gestures happen between people who are deeply attuned to one another. That moment mattered precisely because it was ordinary. It was not meant to impress. It did not ask for applause. Instead, it revealed something far more meaningful: attentiveness without show, care without performance, partnership without display. In a world where public figures are often expected to exaggerate affection for the sake of optics, this quiet act stood out. It suggested a relationship built on habit, not spectacle, on consistency rather than occasional grand gestures. Catherine's appearance that day carried its own subtle message. She wore an outfit made with wool from Johnston's of Elgin, a long-established Scottish manufacturer. On the surface, this might seem like a small detail, even an easy one to miss. But when viewed in context, it becomes part of a larger pattern. Over many years, Catherine has repeatedly chosen clothing from British and regional makers. These are not random choices or one-time statements. They signal loyalty over time, support that is sustained rather than symbolic, and respect shown through action rather than words. When these small details are placed side by side, the way they behave at home, how they interact in public, the choices they make about what to wear and who to support, they begin to form a clear and consistent story. There is no sharp line separating who they are in private from who they present to the world. The values do not change with the setting. The tone remains calm, measured, and grounded in purpose. Forest Lodge, their home, reflects this same philosophy. It is not merely a place of comfort or retreat. It functions as a living example of how they understand leadership. Authority is exercised quietly, without shouting. Rules are not hidden. They are visible and consistently followed. Privacy is protected, but not through secrecy or isolation. Instead, it is maintained through boundaries that are clear and respected. Within this environment, their children are given room to grow. They are allowed freedom, but that freedom is always tied to responsibility. Expectations are present, but so is warmth. Discipline exists, but it is balanced with understanding. This approach teaches that structure is not the enemy of care. Rather, it can be the very thing that allows care to flourish. For the monarchy as an institution, this way of living carries real weight. Long-lasting institutions do not survive on grandeur alone. They endure because people trust them. And trust is built slowly, when power is used carefully, when privilege is controlled rather than flaunted, and when continuity is demonstrated through everyday actions instead of bold declarations. William and Catherine show that true leadership doesn't always seek attention. The most meaningful decisions happen quietly, through daily choices and lived values, not speeches. Behind closed doors, these unseen moments shape character, family, and the future, laying the strongest foundations for lasting leadership without noise, spectacle, or constant public validation. So, what do you think about the rules binding the royal couple? What does it say about them? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.